Hey guys, Shinlock's here, back with a new blind review, rambling mini review. This is Rad. So this was released in 2019. It is currently $20 for full price. It was released by Double Fine Studios, Double Fine Productions. And so this is a action roguelike isometric whatever game. Do I recommend it? No. So I guess the question is, when you think of Double Fine, what games can you think of that they made that are good? That's basically the question. I know that sounds weird, right? So everyone should be able to name Psychonauts. Some people might name Full Throttle or Grim Fandango. Those were worked on by Tim Schafer, but those were done while he was still at LucasArts, not under the Double Fine label, right? He did the remasters of those. Double Fine did. So as far as Double Fine, notable games they've made are pretty much Psychonauts, maybe Brutal Legend, which I thought was okay. I thought it was okay. I'd actually use this time to recommend Costume Quest and Costume Quest 2. Those are both fantastic Western JRPGs. Western JRPGs. They're adorable. You're like little kids, and you change your classes by putting on different costumes. One's like a candy corn. It's a little Halloween themed adventure with kids trying to basically save the world in one night. It's adorable. It's nice. It's a fun little time. They're short. They're like 5 to 10 hour RPGs. So I'd recommend those. Recommend Psychonauts. Can't recommend this. And that's really a problem, actually, because this game, looking at it, it looks cool, right? It's basically this 3D action roguelike that is like neon retro 80s style, man. And it has this neon filter over everything, and it has like a purple and green color scheme, and your characters gain mutations, and you can get like your head can turn into a flaming skull that you can throw at enemies, and then you play it, and it's just kind of boring. It's just boring, right? It's so you're mostly a melee character, and they just sort of change the names of stuff to make it sound more interesting than it really is. So, go out into the wilderness and watch out, because you'll absorb rads out there, man, and then you'll get mutations after you absorb enough rads. It's like, okay, what are rads? Radiation, obviously, but how do you absorb rads? You don't just absorb it out in the world. You defeat enemies. And when you defeat enemies, they give you rads. So rads are just XP or experience, right? And the mutation is just your levels. So whenever you gain a level, you gain a new mutation. Or at least you get like 3 of them. And then, excuse me. And honestly, my eyes hurt after 20 to 30 minutes of playing. I don't know if it's the filter or just the color scheme or whatever. The fact that it's really hard to see stuff, like, since they're going for the cool 80s vibe, money is cassette tapes. So sometimes enemies drop cassette tapes. And unless you see where they drop, they are really hard to see. Floppy disks, which are keys, those drop as well. Those are really hard to see. And so I just felt like my eyes were straining the whole time. And yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, you'd think it would be really cool just from how it looks and all that stuff. But it's like, you get a mutation that turns your arm into like a firearm, and you're like, oh, this is cool. What am I going to do with this? This sounds awesome. And it's just a range attack. You just like shoot little fire bullets. And then you get the mutation, turns your head into a flaming skull that you can throw at your enemies. And it's just a grenade. It's just a grenade. That's all. I put like 2 hours into this game. I'm gonna be honest. I played 2 runs. They were about an hour apiece. After the first one, I was like, when I died, I was just kind of like, eh. You know, I wasn't upset or anything. I was just kind of like, okay, well, that's over. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'll give it another chance. Maybe there's other. Maybe there's way cooler mutations, man, or something like that. Maybe it's better. Maybe it gets better when you play it for a little bit. I mean, look at that. There's like a spider mutation and stuff, and it's like that seems cool. I never got that one, but I don't know what it does. And the problem is, I think it's all just looks, like no substance. It's like if you took away the 80s look, if you stripped away the visuals, what would you have left? Would there be anything interesting about the gameplay? And I don't think so. It's all bog standard, right? It's just, you know, I played the second run and I'm just kind of like, eh. You know, and that got me thinking about, like, this is Double Fine. Why this game should be good. And then I was like, well, hang on, what good games have Double Fine made? And they've made like 20 games, 30 games maybe, and how many can you name? Psychonauts? I forgot Brutal Legend was a game they did until I looked it up. And I was thinking about, like, oh, what are the... I was like, oh, there's those 2 games with, like, the trick-or-treaters and the little kids and the adorable little Halloween RPG. That was fun. I couldn't remember the name. I looked it up. It's Costume Quest, which recommend. But this game is just... It's just bland. It's just boring. And that bothers me. It really bothers me, but I can't help but not recommend this game. You know, it's basically like there's 2 bottles of water, right? One is your regular bottle of water, and then the second bottle of water has, like, you know, an 80s neon bottle, and that one costs $20. It's like it's the same thing as the other one. And that one costs $1 with simpler packaging. You know? I just don't understand. You know, there's mostly positive reviews, 77%. But yeah, I can't recommend it. If people are like, oh, you need to play like 5 hours or 10 hours for it to be good, it's like I can't see it. I can't see it. I just didn't. Nothing really grabbed my attention. It just felt, you know, and that looks cool, right? It's like you're some sort of weird demon centaur with a lightsaber, and you're like, oh, but you know, it's like I'm sure you play it, and it just feels the same as any other run that you have with different mutations. Like, all, for example, right? My character, my first run, I got a tail, which I got to use to spawn little baby versions of myself, little spider things. And that's cool, but you could only hold 2. You could only have 2 of them at once, and every time they attacked, they damaged themselves as well. And so I was constantly having to respawn those things. And it was fine. They, you know, that was fine. The next mutation I got was like some pulsating things on my back that weakened the enemy, although I didn't know how they weakened, and I just knew what it did because there's a little pop-up when you first get it, and then you can't... I don't know if there's a way to find out what it does after that. After that little pop-up goes away, I tried hovering. I couldn't move my mouse over it to see what it did. But it's like it weakens enemies. What does that mean? I don't know. And then I got another one that was like some weird growth on my head, like some air sac, and it just pushes enemies away. It's just, you know. And that's what I mean. It's like all this weird stuff, and then you're just like, eh. You know, it's like, oh, a ranged fire attack. Oh, a grenade. something that lets you push enemies back, something that lets you weaken enemies. You know, where's the creativity? I will say there's there's like some lore entries. There's some little encyclopedia, the Book of the Ancients. In game, there's like a little Book of the Ancients in it. You know, it's like these are all the mutations you've gotten, these are all the items you found, these are all the lore entries. This is all that stuff, right? And that's the best part of the game, is reading the descriptions of the items. And yeah, I wish I was joking about that. I really wish I was, but the game itself is boring, and the little blur, the one paragraph per item or per entry per character that you meet, that's it seems fairly well written. That is the best part of the game, which is sad, which is really sad. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the review. I really wish I could recommend this, but I just can't, and I don't understand why it's so boring. But it is. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention. I really do appreciate it. Really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed all my other stuff. Questions, comments, concerns, good, bad, or indifferent. Let me hear them. I do try and read all of them. I do try and respond to all of them. Usually takes me a few days. Let me know if you've played this. I don't see these people that like this game. I don't understand. Maybe if you're a kid, you know, and this is one of the first games you've played or something, maybe then it's fine, you know. But I'm a bitter old man, and I've played a ton of video games, and I'm just like, this is inferior in every way to other games. Even the style, even the, you know, 80s neon aesthetic, it almost seems like parody because it's so over the top. You know, something like Double Dragon Neon did that as well, but that was over the top as well, but it was like charming. Whereas this is over the top and just feels bland somehow. I really don't understand it, but you know. Anyway, hope to see you guys next time. Till then, guys, take care.